Welcome back to the channel from the largest waterfall system in the world, Iguazu Falls. As you may know, the falls border Argentina and Brazil, each of which have established their section of these spectacular cataracts as national parks. I'm currently on the Brazilian side of the falls. I've already taken a bath, so to speak, on one of the trails leading down underneath and close to one of these cataracts. I'll be visiting both sides of the falls, starting here in Brazil and tomorrow to Argentina. This particular trail is about 1.5 kilometers long, and it's a descending trail that allows you to walk down the hillside after some panoramic views from above and see parts of the falls up close and personal. As you continue to descend on this trail, the roar of these rapids grows louder and louder, and it's really something that's quite awe-inspiring. If you can see into that abyss of water and rock, there's an elevated walkway that literally goes out to and over the edge of the precipice, and that's where we're headed. The mist is blowing in sheets, so I expect to get plenty wet, but I also expect it to be worth it. I am walking out on the rampway to what's called the Devil's Throat. I'm surrounded by waterfalls on 3 sides. I mean, the challenge here is to keep the limbs dry, which I guess is impossible. So let's make our way to the very far edge. This is ultimately as far as one can go. And shortly, you'll be looking straight down into the abyss. I'm sure there are days here when it's not nearly as inclement, but today, as much as people are coming out here, they have their thrill moment. There are not a lot of people hanging around for long. That guy was without any protection, although I did think he had a beer in his hand. And you can see directly behind me the Brazilian side of the falls, so that as I swing around, you look out toward the Argentine side, the wider side, beyond the Devil's Throat. This train ultimately ends up, the end of the line is the spot within Argentina, of course, above the Devil's Throat, where I was yesterday on the Brazilian side. So it should be quite interesting. The train station at that end stops a few hundred meters short, maybe a half mile short, I'm not sure. The walkway that leads to a viewpoint from up above the falls. It's just very pleasant to ride through the forest on a, albeit slow moving, but wide gauge railroad. With the breeze. It's very nice. Well, I've entered the trail. The trail, of course, is an elevated bridge above the river, which crosses over several islands, at least a couple so far, and eventually will bring us to a spot of, I'm sure, spectacular beauty, because from the map it shows that the trail is directly above the river where it goes over the falls. It was pretty ugly yesterday weather-wise. It was overcast, and of course it's always very windy below those falls. But today, at least at this point, it is gloriously sunny. There's very little wind, and we'll see how that changes as we get closer to the overview.
Eu também. Tenho medo. Viu, Toquinho? Nós entramos para o Pache. Não, não está assim que eles moram. Ah, então não. Então é que
Having been on this trail for a while now, on this elevated platform, it's now easy for me to understand why the train system is set up in this park. The idea, of course, is to move a lot of the mechanical infrastructure as far away from the falls themselves as possible, and yet provide access to the falls for the massive number of people who visit here. And that's exactly what the train system has done, and I think I'm appreciating it more by the moment. We've crossed over several streamlets of the Iguazu River, and I've just come out over a wider streamlet. You can see that the pace of the water is picking up. I think if anyone were to fall in here at this point, they'd pretty soon be in trouble. And maybe you could see the spray lifting on the horizon. We're drawing near, and even from this vantage point, you can see how spectacular this is going to be. I'm feeling the first spray. So it's dry and relatively quiet at the moment. It's about to get very different. You think Brazilian customs will let me pass with it? Well, if nothing else, I found out today that there's a certain kind of South American butterfly that appears to be attracted to me. I just wonder if it's still there. I'll have to find out later.